Hello, lovelies.
Hello.
There's quite a few people in here.
I don't know what you're talking about. I see Wholesome Roots is in here.
Yeah, Dustin Dean's wife is in here. Angie
Pine
B,
Brooks Homestead.
Kitty, Tanya.
Green Gables. I don't talk to Tanya
Green
no more.
Gables. JJL. Mama T.
Mama T.
Josh. Incense. Pickers. We're always going to call him Pickers from now.
He's Pickers. He's got to get over it. What?
You said you weren't going to talk to her, and now she's egging you on already.
Mm-hmm.
Did you just say not to talk to me? No, not talking to Tanya.
Nope.
He's not talking to Tanya.
And if Anita keeps up, I'm going to stop talking to her, too.
First time to catch you live.
Well, welcome,
Deb. What's up?
No, you don't. Not with the way you've been treating me. If you love me, treat me better.
Our life continues to move in. I saw a huge doe today. Wow. What did I do?
Oh, we gonna act like you don't know.
What's wrong, Jason? Did you not have fun last night? No, he didn't, because I got to hear all about it.
That's
just saying.
That's not true.
Oh, I mean, I didn't get to hear all about it, but I got to hear about it.
So, well, today's show is going to be a little bit back to the old ways because the girls weren't ready for their portion.
It's been an interesting week.
Well, I mean, you figure last weekend, you got a little under the weather.
Yeah,
my parents came down.
Not feeling well.
Teresa came down. What's up, Amy Fuel?
Stop. So yeah, everybody came, and then after your parents left, well, actually, while they were here, I fell asleep, didn't feel well, had a really bad headache.
Yeah, you were faking them out.
Whatever.
So, Jason, you won't believe what has been coming
on our trail cam.
Yeah, I would. So speaking of trail cams, I wish I could get what's been on my trail cam to play.
So
no, don't say nothing because I'm gonna get. If I've got to import it into Adobe, then
of course he's interested.
I just asked what.
Yeah. So you weren't even interested. Yeah, he's interested. He said what? Oompa Loompas are why I never watch Willy Wonka anymore. That's true. The older you get, the more it's like, this is really like a creepy movie. And of course it didn't help that Johnny Depp redid it and like took it to a whole new creepy level. So, yeah. So anyway. Well, okay, Mama's home. We can start. Teresa Dean's in here. A 3-legged coyote. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Healthy looking. Yeah.
That happens.
Yeah.
It happens. I was
Might
about
be
to,
time
I was about to bust a
some
chop.
out.
I was about to bust a chop. She done my we ain't even interested to ask for it, and it was like she's kept talking. It's like, are you going to share?
No. Couldn't get the bolts out of the toilet. What?
She couldn't get the bolts out. Oh boy. Well, it didn't ring.
Just saying.
Just saying. Blaze is on the way home. Okay. Blaze got called into work today. So, today we are going to talk about, are you ready?
Right.
Huh. Thought you were going to take over there.
No, I learned from watching Scrape Away that somebody needs to man the chat. So I'm paying attention to the chat while you're... Because that was really, really bad. And she kept saying, he's not going to pay attention. He's just not. He's not.
Yeah, and then she was like, for beep's sake!
That was so funny. Oh my God. It made me laugh.
Even though Patrick don't come to my live streams no more, I always come to him.
Yeah.
So, just...
Pregnant pause much.
Just saying.
Well, okay, so we started talking about this on what we were going to talk about, because we don't like to just jaw jack. We don't want to just be like blah 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 blah. You know, we want to have a point.
You don't like the jaw jack.
No, I like the jaw jack. I just don't like to do it online on our shows because if we don't have a set purpose, it's just us chatting. And it's not my favorite. So,
that's funny. That's like saying Tanya's young.
Anyway, so,
Uh-oh. Wait a minute.
What?
What
Liz, Zorab's in here. That's cool. Hello.
Oh. Josh.
What'd Josh say?
He's kissing up to Amy. It's not going to get you a better spot at the... Did you
the stink bug just kamikazed right into our monitor. That was pretty funny. Let's see. Hey, Jason, Wildlife. Yeah, we saw that with the doe.
No.
Are you sure about that, Jason?
I ain't sure about anything.
Hello, Little Creek.
Little Creek.
Okay.
What's up, little
one? Anyway, we gotta
get out of there because that's totally gonna mess with my head.
We like to have a little bit of a topic to be able to kind of stay on track, so we're not online for 2 hours just talking about nothing.
We like to see, and I messed up the joke in my own head.
Yep.
We like to apply our live streams topically.
That was such a bad essential oils joke. Okay, so what we thought we'd talk about is the impending season.
Well, I mean, it's like the impending season. Dun, dun, dun.
Well, I was trying to be funny. The impending season and also the impending election season that's coming. So we all know that the midterm elections are coming up on Tuesday. And there's been a lot of back and forth about what's going to happen, what's not going to happen. So we thought we'd kind of come at this from two angles. One, talk about what everybody's doing to prep for the winter, to get everything ready for the winter season. Mm-hmm. But then also kind of talk about what's going on with the election season. And, and kind of go through, because each state is different. You know, the big overall issue is that there's a possibility that the House could turn to Democratic instead of Republican, because for the last 2 years it's been a Republican-held situation. So now there's the possibility of that turning, and there are a lot of implications that go along with that. Now, Wholesome Roots was just saying Georgia is in a pickle. Absolutely.
We are in a hurt locker.
Yeah.
We are like the President Obama Mitt Romney election. Both people that have won the majority for both parties, neither one of them is worth a flip. Mm-mm. So now we got to look at, and you definitely don't want, what's her name? Adams.
Is that her name?
Yes, because
Abrams,
maybe it's Abrams. You definitely don't want her. So, all my Georgia people, come on now. Let's do a little common sense. Because she flat out said while she's as governor, she's going to do her best to disarm us.
Stacey Abrams, that's her name.
And it's Blaze and I, my son, who's a closet Democrat.
You don't know that. You don't know that.
It's a closet Democrat. I flat out told him, you're out of my house if you vote for that woman.
Can't do that.
Yes, I can.
You can't do
Watch
that.
me.
No.
Watch me. Be on the street, boy. But all joking aside, him and I sat down the other day.
All right, Wholesome Roots. Good night.
We pulled up everything.
Uh-huh.
And we talked about it. And I think and this is what all parents should do. I honestly believe this. And I'm trying to collect my thoughts to make sure I say this the correct way to say it that it needs to be said. Parents, you are doing your children, you're making them uneducated voters, and you're making the situation worse if you don't sit down with your newly registered to vote child and talk to put out, take the information, take the candidates, line them up side by side, and talk about it. Because
have a conversation, an educated conversation.
Yes.
Right.
Because the kids nowadays, they get bombarded. Like Blaze has been getting crazy stuff in the mail. His phone's been going off.
Yeah.
Bombarding him with propaganda against what are they called?
The senators, the governors, everybody.
Everybody.
All of it has been... It's been... And she's in the gubernatorial race. She's in the governor's race because Nathan Deal is out of years. He doesn't have any... He's out of term. So...
Right. And so, as a young individual, they don't know any better. Even if you raise them right. They're getting all these pamphlets in the mail, and so they're going to read the black and white. And if you don't sit him down and talk to them and pull up other things to say, okay, this is what that article means. This is what that means. This is what this will do in the long run. I'm 43 years old. I got 20 plus years on this boy of life experience. That if I don't sit down with him, especially because I was a single guy once.
Like once. Just kidding. For a really long time.
And I know how a single guy thinks.
Yeah.
And you got to sit down and say, okay, this stuff here with college really affects you. This stuff here may not affect you right here today in the present moment, but when you get to be my age, it might come all the way back to this moment right here.
Yeah.
You don't know, but you got to treat it like it will.
That's right.
And so you have to have these conversations with your children that are, I mean, they're no longer children. They'll always be your children, but they're
grown children.
Your grown children. They are now registered voters, and right now the millennials outnumber the baby boomers. See, Generation X, there weren't enough of us to really matter. We would just rock the vote in the 80s, and
right.
You know, they pretty much just forgot about us.
Right. We're just kind of like a hiccup in the middle there.
Yeah. So, and you gotta have these conversations, because here's the thing. If, let's just say the Democrats just clean house and win, and they just win the midterms, that's going to wreak havoc on all of our lives. It could take this economy that is starting to get some wind in its sails and cut the sails wide open. It could take any and all things that President Trump is trying to accomplish with fair trade, securing our borders, all these things that he's trying to work with and becoming a compromise, healthcare, all of these things, and it takes us right back to where we were with Barack Obama, where everything comes to a stop.
It'll be a stalemate, exactly.
Nothing will get done.
And not just that, but they'll start wanting to bring up investigations again and things like that
wastes our money, that raises our national debt.
Right.
If they lose,
then we look like the bad guys.
Well, I don't really care about looking like a bad guy, and I don't think anybody that's trying to do good for this country really cares about looking like a bad guy.
You're trying to rationalize an irrational person, though.
Right. They will whine, fuss, cry, complain. Mainstream media will make it be, and all of a sudden the Russians got involved again, and all of these other things that it could possibly, and I don't want to jump ahead to what information you got, but what it could possibly even ignite another civil war in this country. And I'm not just trying to spit scare tactics out there or anything, but
hello, D.
The American people are still divided more than they were back in the time for the original First Civil War.
Well, but let's think about some things, though. This is something I was pulling up because I wanted to really pull up exactly what's going on here and why this is such a big deal. Okay, so since the beginning of 2017, when Trump took office, okay, there have been claims of fraud, okay, there's been hiring and firing of high officials in the White House and in Capitol Hill. So there's been a lot of distrust there. There's been mass shootings all over the place. We've had a ton of those covered by the media. Tensions with Russia, North Korea, China, Iran. We've had accusations and confirmations of sexual harassment in people that were once respected individuals. And it doesn't just have to be in the government, but also things like with Bill Cosby. There's been all these news anchors and all this different stuff that's been going on. There's all of this unrest that's already building up this issue that we've got going on. There's been also, racial tension is continuing to go up. You've got all of these big data scandals that are going on with the internet, with Facebook being hacked, all of that kind of crap. You've got the impending end of net neutrality. So, we had the thing with Alex Jones where he was censored and left behind. So you've got all of these different things that are going on. And it's caused so much unrest already that's why we're in the issue that we're in right now, is that people are concerned that there's enough millennials out there that are going to see all of this noise as a reason for change. That they think that if they they change up everything, that all of this stuff is going to go away. Yeah. When you and I know that most of this has nothing to do with what the actual makeup of Congress is right now. But the things that the hot topics that are coming up with everybody's debates are obviously, you've got healthcare availability and cost. That's been a huge one. You have the economy that was kind of flip-flopping for a little while there, and then it started to go back up.
As we get closer to the election, it's been dropping.
Oh, yeah,
600 points, 500 points, 300
points. And we
points.
saw that just we've been watching gold and silver, and gold and silver have kind of very slowly kind of gone down. But now it's starting to come back up. We'll see what happens after the elections to see if it bounces back. But then you've got, one of the big hot topics is gun policy. You got a lot of people that are one way or the other. And then you have immigration, which is another huge issue. I know one of the Facebook things that I saw for our candidates for the governor's race talked about sanctuary cities and immigration issues, and there's always the issue with abortion. You've got all of those different topics that come up. But I guess the big question, though, is everybody ready for what could or couldn't happen after Tuesday?
Well, I have very different views than most. I am, I guess, a hardcore constitutionalist is the best way to put a lot of my views. For example, abortion. Morally, religiously, I believe it is wrong.
Absolutely.
But I am considered, I guess, pro-choice because I do not believe that the government has the right to tell an individual what to do with their body.
What they can and can't do.
All right.
With their body. Because the minute that you start there,
it becomes a slippery slope. The next thing you know, everybody's got a chip.
Or you've got, you can't elderly not being treated because they're elderly, and that the money needs to go to somebody who's younger. That that's where we go from there. Right. And so you got
another one is gay marriage.
Personally,
I don't have a problem with it. The moment, and a lot of y'all are fixing to blow up the chat, and I'm probably going to get a bunch of thumbs down, but I'm okay with that because the moment that I had to purchase a marriage license, my marriage is no longer a religious
union.
Pact or a religious union.
No.
And so the moment, because I don't need a pastor or a preacher or a priest or
to verify
a rabbi to marry me. We didn't have one. We had a justice of the peace to marry us.
Because at the end of the day, you have to file a license to make it to where you're legally married. So it went from being a religious issue to being a legality.
Now, I'm not going to go out and get a gay marriage.
No?
No, not.
Okay.
Not my cup of tea. Not going to do it.
Not personally. Yeah. However.
But my other thing that goes along with that, when I'm asked, homosexuals, across the board, men, women, they can strap on the same boots that I do, put on the same uniform that I do, carry the same weapon that I did, walk through the same sandbox that I did, get shot at just like I did. They have every right to come back home and be just as miserable as me. Or happy, however you want to look at it.
Right. So, at the end of the day, it goes back to there's obviously your moral compass and what you believe morally, but then there's the implications of what could happen if you allow this legality to happen. It is the perfect thing of the road to hell being paved with good intentions.
I don't even know if that was the road to hell was paved with good intentions. The moment that the government saw a way to make more money by making individuals buy a license to be married.
Right. No, I get it. But what I'm saying is there's so many laws out there that it started out. No Child Left Behind. Started out as a good intention.
I don't know about that one.
And now it is a nightmare. I mean, there's so many things. I mean, welfare started out as a great...
Don't get me on that. Don't even open up that can of worms.
Started out as a good intention. But the problem with good intentions is there's always people there to exploit that.
Right.
And that's when you get into the issue.
And the reason why I'm bringing up these hot topics, like don't even get me going on gun control.
2 hands.
Because Ted Nugent was on Joe Rogan's podcast. They also broadcast it on YouTube. Go watch it. It's 3 hours. Turn it on, clean your house, but listen to it. But be forewarned. Ted Nugent is old school.
He's like you.
He's blunt.
Uh-huh.
And he does not do anything politically correct. Nope. And he drops the F-bomb.
Yeah. So if you got kids, don't play it while the kids are around. But
I think he said it best with when it came to gun control. You're always going to have stupid people. You try to ban water because water causes people to drown, and I'll try to ban guns.
I mean, you can do that in so many different ways.
Yeah. And Joe Rogan, who is a big advocate for marijuana, said through those exact words, kind of right back at Ted Nugent about marijuana. Right.
So if that's the case, then I shouldn't have to. I should be able to legalize marijuana.
Right. And they had a very good, that's one of the things that I like about Uncle Ted. He doesn't pull any punches. But he's not closed-minded to say, well, my way of thinking is the right way. There's nothing that you can say that can change me. He's an
intelligent man, right.
Because he acts, through their discussion about legalizing marijuana, he looked at Joe and he said, you gave me some stuff to think about. I am taking in your words and I'm digesting them, and you've given me something to think about.
Some food for thought.
Yeah. And I say all of that, all about the gay marriage and the abortion and Ted Nugent and all of that to come to this point right here. That is what America needs. There's no middle ground anymore. There's no more discussions about policies. There's no more discussions about issues.
It's I'm right and you're wrong.
It's either complete gun control, confiscate all guns, or
you can have my gun when you pry it from my cold dead hand. Yeah. There's nowhere in the middle.
Because me and Blaze go back and forth with this, because he's kind of a little bit of a gun control freak. And
I feel like some of that is because of what he sees through his work.
He was that way before he started work.
Well.
But through discussion, are those stink bugs doing it on my thing?
No, I think the one is dead and he's...
Okay.
Yeah, he was cleaning it off so he can keep moving.
But
he's like, you're in my way. Get out of here.
But through discussion...
From zero to Homestead. Hello.
He is coming around.
Right. And it's not that you're trying to sway him. You're just giving him more life experience. Or explaining things to him that he might not... So one of the things I notice, at least with Blaze's generation, because I work with two of them, they don't necessarily think about anything outside of their box of them. Like, they're very... Selfish is not the right word, but self-involved maybe, or their box only includes them. They don't think about things that go beyond their door.
Joe Rogan said it best on this. He said a lot of people, and what you're describing is that they're looking at the world through a toilet paper roll.
Okay.
They don't see everything else.
Right, but the thing about a toilet paper roll is, it's like blinders. But what I'm getting at is they don't even, like, their distance. It's not even about not seeing out here. It's that their distance, they don't see past a certain point. Their brains don't go to what we're talking about with abortion. That if I do this, what could happen? Like, what's the implications of that 10 years from now? Mm-hmm. They don't think about that. Blaze doesn't think about me making this decision now not that it could affect me 10 days from now, but that it could affect me 2 years from now.
Right.
He doesn't think about stuff like that. And that's something I see a lot in this generation coming up, is they're in the here and now. They don't think about, if I don't pay my bill 2 years from now.
Raw loss, dude.
If I don't pay my bills now, how's that going to affect me 2 years from now?
Right.
Or, they're just worried about, well, if I still got to buy my cigarettes, I'm not going to be able to pay my rent right away. So the cigarettes are more important, so that's going to, they're very right in the here and now of what's more important right at that moment. Yeah. And so that's really dangerous, because a lot of the mentality right now is, how it affects in my little box right here in front of my nose, not what rights or freedoms could I be potentially giving away just because I like the way that this one person thinks about taxes or whatever.
It's all about sound bites now. Everybody is listening to sound bites, and they're not making educated decisions.
They're breaking it down on a Facebook meme post where it's got both of their names and like what the hot topics are and what they believe. But I'll tell you what I did see. Both of the girls, all of us at work, they looked at that and they took it for gospel. They didn't go back and look to make sure that what that meme said about that person was actually true. And that bothers me, because that's what happens with this generation. They take things to be gospel. They don't cross-check references. They take it for one, if it's in one spot, it has to be true. And it's not necessarily the internet. If they see it on TV or something like that, one place, that's it. They don't go cross-referencing to make sure they take things. If it looks professional, it must be right. And that's not... you and I know that that's just not the way that things are done anymore, because propaganda is propaganda no matter what. And depending on who you want to win is how you're going to make that sway to your candidate.
It's all a part of warfare. It's no different than... this has been going on for years.
Oh.
Generations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Millennials. World War II. Mm-hmm. The Japanese government dropped pamphlets on the island of Okinawa before the Marines landed on Okinawa. And the pamphlets read that when the Americans come, they will rape your women, make you watch, kill your children, and then they will torture you to death.
Right, so the minute you guys got there, you were the enemy.
So, the moment that the Marines landed in Okinawa, there is one cliff in Okinawa, and I can't remember the name of the cliff. But there were families throwing their little girls off of this cliff.
That's horrible.
And then jumping off themselves. Throwing their babies off of these cliffs into this rocky bottom, into the ocean. There was mass suicide because the Marines were coming, and because of all of this propaganda pamphlets that were dropped,
that were never verified. Nobody ever. It's warm in here.
They believed what their government was telling them.
Right.
We are practically in the same boat with this younger generation, and even some people in my generation are being gullible enough to believe some of the stuff that they read online. So, these midterm elections are extremely important to homesteaders. State of Georgia. If the Democratic candidate...
Did you read what Sub said? She said that Stacey Abrams made the comment that she doesn't believe that Georgians should have to work in agriculture. Right. Well, if they're not going to work in agriculture, who is? I mean, like, really?
She wants... If If she wins, she wants to disarm the entire state, make the entire state a gun-free zone. As a homesteader,
that's dangerous.
That's dangerous to us. Anybody who lives in a rural county in my state, that's dangerous to us. We had a lady 3 miles, 4 miles up the road, had an encounter with a rabid bobcat and made national news. She was unarmed, and she was an old, mean woman.
She just broke its neck.
She choked it out.
Yeah.
But that's not the case in all points. I have killed multiple feral dogs that were chasing my girls that came through my pasture. I was too far away to get to them in time if I did not have my firearm.
Right. And look at what Suburban's going through right now. She's got coyotes, like, in her neighborhood.
The city of Augusta, the largest city in the state of Georgia by population, it has beaten out Atlanta. They have coyotes in neighborhoods. Dogs come up missing. Cats come up missing. Kids are getting attacked.
Yep.
But if we outlaw firearms, stuff like that becomes out of control. And make no mistake, the bad guys are not going to turn in their guns.
No, they don't follow the laws.
They're going to ramp up what they're doing.
Well, all of those guns that get turned in are going to go somewhere, right?
Yeah. Home invasions will go up.
We have smudge.
If home invasions will go up, carjackings will go up, bank robberies will go up, all these things will go up.
Right.
Guarantee it. She wants to, and I'm just using my state as an example, she wants to expand Medicaid and take away your choice for health insurance. It's socialism, folks. So as a homesteader, we want to live free. The whole reason why we started doing what we're doing in a roundabout sort of way, it may have started differently in the beginning. It may have been because of health reasons. It may have been because of financial reasons.
Hey, Cherish.
But the more we started to homestead, the more we realized the freedom that it gave us.
Right.
The more we wanted more freedom. And an individual that's like her, that's running for the governor of my state, is the kind of individual that gets in there that makes it illegal to harvest rainwater.
Yeah, she would be yeah.
You know?
So they're, in California, wants to outlaw all semi-automatic firearms.
Yeah. San Diego, come January.
Oh, yeah. How about that?
1, 20. I got nothing for California. I something came up in the news, and I made the comment with Blaze. I said, I'm done with California. It can fall off into the ocean. And Blaze is like, we would drown. I'm like, it caught me off guard. I'm like, what? He said, if the state of California fell off into the ocean, we would drown. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He said, you ain't never seen a fat person get in a tub with like that much water? I said, man, get away from me.
He's so funny.
January 1, 2019, the city of San Francisco and Los Angeles is going to follow. It will be illegal to sell any products that have fur in them.
Yep. Anything with fur.
And they're going to push it to make it illegal to own anything with fur. So, I got nothing for you, California. I really don't. You done outlawed straws. I told Jane all this, and I said, you know what? Me and you, when we're about ready to call
Doesn't
it
include leather. If the leather has fur on it, yes.
Yes. It
includes... If it's just leather, it's not. But if it's leather with fur...
Yeah.
If there's fur on the leather, then yes, it would include that.
I called Jane the moment...
No, that would be fine.
I...
Heard about that.
Heard about it.
You were really upset.
They would get you for having a rifle.
Yeah.
I called him and I said, man, I'm done. I am so done. I said, this is what we need to do. When you and I are ready to call it quits and we're ready to just spend our last days in jails, I said, you and I need to wear a fur coat, drinking a 44 ounce of Coca-Cola
with a stainless straw, with a plastic straw,
and walk down some main streets in San Francisco and LA and see how far we can get before somebody comes up. It says something to you and me.
I don't know if it would. I don't know that they would. I think they'd just call the cops because they wouldn't.
I don't think the cops would mess with us because San Francisco and stuff is hot. So we come in there wearing some big beaver coats.
Well, they would first think there was something wrong with y'all in the first place. Just because it's like 90 degrees and you're going to wear fur.
Yeah.
Like, that's the first issue. And I could see you, like, Jason Momoa in Frontier wearing the big
Don't even mention that show to me right now. Netflix, I hate your guts. It's going to be
unmonetized.
2 years before the next season of that.
That has nothing to do with Netflix. That has to do with your boy. Jason Momoa has been busy making stuff, so he's just not going to be available to film until now. So it won't be ready until next year.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That ranks up there with, as a homesteader, a must watch. It ranks, as far as I'm concerned, ranks right up there with Jericho.
If you haven't watched the series Frontier, you definitely need to check it out.
Yeah. So,
because trapping and hunting are cruel, but the government pays out for animals to stand on concrete for their whole lives and feed corn, because that's kinder. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point.
Well, you know what? I'm going to address that, because that statement right there.
She's being facetious.
I know she's being facetious, but that is the statement that comes from every anti-hunter and every anti-trapper out there. Fur is murder. Fur, you're killing.
We're gonna call it furter.
Don't make me DDT you.
Hashtag stop furter.
I now feel Megan's pain.
Hey, JJL4 said they might just offer you a new marriage license.
The antis. I love how they love to pitch that rhetoric.
Right.
Fur is murder. You're killing Bambi, or how dare you
hunt for trophies, hunt for sport.
Stop! You're messing me up
I'm
now.
Sorry.
For
freak's sake.
How dare you go out there and do this to these poor defenseless animals?
Yeah.
And they say this as they're sitting down eating lobster or chicken cordon bleu, and you're like,
where did it come from?
You're eating an animal.
Right.
Where are you coming from me at this? But here is the main thing, that people that say that they know zero about conservation. They know zero about animal rights. They know zero about what it takes to keep animals healthy, alive, happy,
and not dangerous.
Right. The new thing is and Uncle Ted put it best when he said this. He said, we are, as hunters and trappers, fishermen, outdoorsmen, we're going out there and we're making room for this year's fawns. Because they're going to keep having babies.
Right. I mean,
there is no more land.
I love your statement that you always tell people when they start talking about protecting animals and all this stuff. And your answer is always the same. Do you ever go into the grocery store or to the gas station or to the pharmacy and see a deer buying birth control? Ever? No. They don't. They don't work on that level.
No, because that would be a rubber bucky.
That was funny. So there's a couple of comments. Hope said something really smart. She said, if you ever went hunting for a hog or a deer and there's nothing defenseless about that at all. They get quite vicious.
Yes.
And like Teresa was saying, I guess it's just better to let them starve and waste away. That's exactly what happens.
Well,
you get diseases, you get all kinds of different things that happens when, population control. If you don't do it, who's gonna?
Right.
It just doesn't. Right.
Well, I'm going to use Suburban as an example. My pain in the backside big sister.
Yes. You love her to death.
Yeah. She's like hemorrhoids. Just as soon as you think that she's going to go away and leave you alone, she flares back up again.
That's not nice. God knows it takes her probably 3 days to build up the courage to ask you about something, and then
she and I had a conversation. She was tore up
very upset
because a gray fox killed one of her cats.
Right, and she saw it. It was disturbing.
Bite this.
I'm gonna bite something.
Promise. Here is the main, and the reason why I'm using her as an example. And I told her she's at the point of no return. Mm-hmm. She has had a major population boom with canines in her area.
Right.
Foxes and coyotes. That fox, his number one food source that he goes after 24/7 is mice and rats.
Yep.
Chipmunks, squirrels, rabbits, small mammals. He's not looking to fight a feral tomcat, and that's exactly how she explained to me that these cats are feral, and she's just out there feeding them to try to bring them in, to catch them, to get them. She's trying to do a responsible thing. She's trying to catch them, get them spayed, get them neutered,
and then turn
them back out. So she's doing this all on her own dime, but this fox came and tangoed with this cat on her front porch.
Which is not common.
It's
That's not
normal.
What they do. Right.
And why is this happening? Because the people that trap, there's maybe in the state of Georgia, and Suburban lives in our state, there are maybe in the entire state of Georgia, there may be 5,000 of us, 10,000 of us.
I don't even think there's that many.
And that's being generous.
Yeah. I mean, at least the ones that are listed through the state. Like, if you were to call DNR and ask them for a list of names, I really don't feel like you'd even have that many names. And
the reason why you had that diminishing trappers is, one, because people started farm raising mink and raccoon and foxes, and the fur prices plummeted.
And then China.
And then you had all of the antis come in, PETA especially.
I hope that wasn't our son trying to be funny. I think it was our son trying to be funny.
That, or it was a duck and that coon fighting again. Coon lost last time.
What the hell was that? Yeah, I know, right? Y'all got to hear it too. This microphone picked it up, I'm sure.
PETA went on, and is still on, a rampage about foothold traps.
Yes.
And they'll take a foothold trap designed for a coyote, find some roadkill of a squirrel or a muskrat or something, and they'll put it in the foothold and do this whole big propaganda stuff about it.
Mm-hmm. And what Gothic Sugar is saying is they kill quite a few animals themselves. They're just as responsible for some of the bad mishandling things.
Well, here's the thing. And it's public record, I'm not making this stuff up. Public record. PETA and the Humane Society, believe it or not, that one was a kick in the teeth from me. The Humane Society, they have more charges and more cases of animal cruelty against them, those organizations, than anybody else.
Yep. I mean...
And so we we say all of that to circle back around again to the original point was have conversations. Have conversations with younger people. Now, I know in cases like with Tanya, she'd be talking to everybody.
I mean, that'll keep her busy.
But it'll keep her busy because, I mean, I think Jesus still owes her a nickel.
Oh, my God.
Not sure on that one. I don't know if he paid it back or not yet. But have conversations with younger people and say, hey, I want to talk to you about some of these issues at hand. I want to talk to you about gun control. I want to talk to you about immigration. Mm-hmm. I want to know what you're thinking.
Right.
Open it up. And see where it takes you. You may just be a part of a movement that helps save a nation. Mm-hmm. Now, you may run across some ones that are just so far gone, they're gone, that you just got to look at them and go, it's a good thing you're pretty.
I mean, I deal with it at work all the time because you'll have a hot topic come in and people want to start talking about it. And the way that the setup is at our job, there's an older lady, she's almost 60 on this far end. And then there's a 26-year-old and then like a 23-year-old or 28-year-old and 26-year-old, something like that. And then me, and I'm in the corner at an L. So I kind of have my own little space and then there's a big printer right there. So I'm kind of separated a little bit. But there'll be times where I'm typing and doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And I'll hear them talking about something and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is hurting my head. And I'll try to ignore, I used to try to ignore it and just kind of do my own thing. And then there were some times where I'm like, are you listening to what you're saying? Do you truly believe what you're saying right now? Mm-hmm. Because if you do, think about this. And then it'll be like, sometimes they're just kind of like, oh, there's Robyn being Robyn again. Or there's sometimes when they're like, I didn't think about it that way. And that's what I was getting back to with the thing about only thinking about what's good for your block. And it starts with a conversation that will get you thinking about that stuff on one level to where eventually you can have the conversation about other things that are more important, like healthcare. Healthcare is a big one. Gun control, things like that. But that's one thing, we titled this stream, Are You Ready? And the big buzz topics, healthcare. Well, as a homesteader, most of us take care of our healthcare internally on the homestead. We eat better. Mm-hmm. We try to treat things more naturally so that we don't get sick as often. Things like that. As far as the economy goes,
no, keep going with that because you're not that needs to be talked about more because that's probably next to gun control. Mm-hmm. That's probably the next biggest topic as a homesteader that we need to be paying attention to. Because people like the lady that's running for governor here wants to force everybody to be on the Medicaid system, the socialized health insurance. That means they want to start to force you to take a flu shot. Right. They want to force you to get, you got PTSD. You need to be on this antidepressant. This.
Immunizations, all these different things.
All these different kind of things. And you and I and everybody in this chat, or at least I'm assuming everybody in this chat, knows The flu shot is the biggest hoax that there is.
Well,
maybe not the biggest hoax.
Okay, but this is where information is key. What most people, at least in this room, everybody understands this, but what the general public does not understand is that when they construct the flu shot, it is 3 strains, and now they've got 4 is more, or whatever, 4 strains that are the most popular. The problem with that is that the most popular is not necessarily the one that's going to show up to make everybody sick. So you can get a flu shot and introduce these 3 or 4 strains into your body, and then you still get sick because you weren't exposed to the one that is the one knocking everybody on their butt. So that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand is especially with the flu vaccine, it's just not, or the flu shot, it's just not a foolproof method to keep you from getting sick. And that's the thing that people don't grasp. And like Niana's saying, she's forced. She has to take one because of her job. You know? So let's see what Kitty said. It's like
Kitty's is absolutely hilarious.
A lady in the grocery store told me she was part of PETA and I shouldn't be buying beef. She went on to say how I shouldn't eat animals, and I asked her if she ate dairy. She said, yes, I eat dairy, chicken, and fish. She said, those don't have faces and aren't animals. Wait, what? I laughed at her and I asked her if she ever ate chicken head soup. Some people are special.
That's the kind of stuff. Common sense is going out the window. But let's take this, and we kind of got. I kind of got hung up on some of this stuff. But let's talk about preparing the homestead for winter.
Right.
Winter. We are going to be doing some videos.
Well, before you get any further with that, kind of my whole point of doing this was that the kind of preparing that you'll do for this election is very similar to what you would prepare for a winter, because it's kind of the same. There's a good possibility that we could go through something very similar to what a winter would pose as a threat to a homestead. Right. So you know how much I like to think in metaphors, right. And that's exactly what this is to me.
Let me interrupt you for a second. You have not shared the one piece of information that you found out about individuals on the left. What are they doing? What is this? This midterm has hurt the stock market because it's been going down.
Right.
But there has been one piece or one industry that has benefited from this midterm election, and it's because of the people that are very far left. And what is that?
The prepping kind of community, the whole emergency essentials, all of the especially the internet market of buying stuff to be prepared for, massive shortages in electricity, and generators are going up. All the MREs, all of these companies that have been kind of just treading water for all of us people that kind of just buy a little bit here and there, and then as we realize we can do all this stuff on our own, we kind of back away from it. What's happened is that group of clientele has now been replaced with what they call the liberal millennials. And they're now the liberal preppers or whatever. There's this whole group now that has taken over that market. And because they have a lot of money and not a lot of sense, they're buying up in this industry. And that industry is now flourishing because of they're going crazy thinking that all hell is going to break loose after Tuesday, that their lights are going to be shut off and there's going to be no food in the store and they need to hurry up and get everything stocked away.
Right. But on the other side of that coin, that is a good thing. At least, and follow my train here. I hope all of them are scared to death and they're out there and they're buying Berkey water filters and they're making bug out bags and they are buying up the MREs and they are learning how to dehydrate food, and they're actually starting to put food away in case of emergencies, and ammo, and they're buying, and let them buy guns. I guess they realize that they're, well, never mind, I ain't gonna go there. It's a family friendly show. And let them start to prepare, because we all know most of us can't come from a prepping background.
Right.
Most of us were buying the dehydrated potatoes, the dehydrated milk. We were buying all that stuff and we were putting it up, and then we started realizing our shelves were full. And then we started looking at it and we started learning more, and we started going, this is not going to last forever. This is not sustainable.
And I'll give you a good example. We're having to tighten down a little bit, and we're starting to, because you have to replenish your stores every once in a while, because you don't want it just sitting there. And I didn't realize some of the stores that we have are from several years ago, back before we were in the homesteader mentality. And I didn't realize how many pounds of beans and rice and sugar and things like that, flour, that we had to stockpile all of this stuff. And I was like, gosh, we put a lot of stuff aside that, now we can grow. We can grow the beans. We don't have to just stock them off to the side. We can grow them and stock more off to the side. It's just different mentality.
And we know that what they'll do is that when their pantries get full and their basements get full, and their education, because they're starting to research how to stockpile the water and how to stockpile this, and they're getting their Bibles, what did they used to make? How did they used to say it when they made fun of people like us? The Bibles, bullets, beans, and Band-Aids, or something like that.
Yeah.
When they're putting all that stuff away, and then they're going to come to the same realization that everybody in here did at some point in time. This is not going to last forever.
It's not sustainable. Exactly.
What do I do when this runs out?
Right.
Then they're going to go outside and they're going to plant something. Or they're going to go buy some chickens. And the moment, just like it happened to every one of us, the moment that they bite into that first tomato, the moment that they collect that first egg, and all of the work that goes into it, the physical labor, the mental ups and downs, the roller coaster ride that it takes, they're not going to want to share with their neighbor down the street.
That socialism attitude is going to go
right down.
Because at the end of the day, survival will kick in. And, if I have to share my beans with you... And I don't even know necessarily that it'll even come after they've planted. I think if they have a finite amount, and they're forced to have to share that finite amount, that idea of socialism, of everybody sharing everything, is going to go
right now
away. Human nature to survive. Right. And that's that will change everything.
I think it was Patrick that brought this up a couple weeks ago on
his live stream.
His live stream with Full Spectrum. I think they talked about the survival instinct. About, with some people, the fight or flight. Some people, it will kick in. Others, it will not. But for the majority of it, a lot of it will kick in. And a lot of it, when they have to go out there and they lose some chickens to a possum, or they lose some chickens to a raptor, and they went from getting a dozen eggs a day down to 2 eggs a day. They're going to hoard that. They're not going to want to give up one of those eggs. And
I'm going to finish your sentence, okay, and then I'll answer that.
And that's going to, I think there's going to be another great awakening happen. Mm-hmm. And when that happens, I think we will start to see the adjustment to when both sides start coming back to where they should be, which is right here in the middle.
Right. So the comment was, the thing is, the liberal idea of sharing is about the same as the Christian idea of treating others as you would yourself. I disagree with that. The thing that I see with the idea of sharing is that there are some who do all the work, but then everybody benefits from the work of some. And really, ironically, when you're talking about the Christian idea, anybody who's ever been involved in a church, especially a Southern Baptist church at that, you will see 20% of the people doing 80% of the work. Mm-hmm. You won't see 100% of the people doing 100% of the work. So really, you're kind of on the same, at least with what my idea of some of the different ways that go on. But here's the thing that there's a big difference between. In most situations, the Christian idea was not, it was everybody helps. It's a community. You're supposed to help pull your weight. Mm-hmm. And it's just like we tell people all the time. We hear people say, especially, and I'm sure you all hear this too. Well, if crap hits the fan, I'm coming to your place, right? Mm-hmm. We hear that a lot, and I'm sure all of you hear that a lot. The one thing I tell people is, if you're planning on coming to my place, don't come empty-handed. Don't come empty-handed. You load up everything you possibly can, and you bring it with us. And then, once you're here, don't expect things to just be handed to you. You will have to carry your own weight.
Right.
You're not just going to sit around and wait for things to grow and be harvested and then prepared and then you eat. That's not how it works. You know, it's just, I don't know. I feel like, and I agree with what Green Gables said. Sharing should be free will, not forced. And that's...
Night, Mama T.
That's just kind of where it should definitely be a choice. And it shouldn't be, you know, that if you know, and I think anybody set with a situation where their supply is finite is going to have that same mentality. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be a, let me just share everything I have with you. Because at the end of the day, you're going to realize you don't have but a certain amount to share. And then survival kicks in, and it's like, well, if I have to feed you and I have to feed me, I got to feed me first. Mm-hmm. And that's, you know, and that's where that shift in idea of being able to contribute to where people can start to realize that 2 people working on something together is better than just 1 person. 4 people working together instead of 2 is better. You know, and so on and so forth. And that's why I feel like we'll see communities pop up, no different than what you see on Walking Dead. You'll see communities get together and go, this is our common goal of what we want to do. And they work together to make it happen. You know, and you're going to have issues with personalities and things like, and ideals. But overall, I think, you know...
Now, the City Girl Country Heart said, my kids' eating comes before anyone else, even me. I don't agree with that. Because at the end of the day, my kids are still young. Now, my kids are above average when it comes to being able to take care of themselves.
Right.
But for the majority, I need to take care of myself first so I can take care of my kids.
Because if I'm
weak,
you can't protect your children.
Right. Now, did you answer that other lady's question up there?
About the Hittites, which I'm not sure of what she's even talking about.
Yeah.
When you dig in the trash to get food, you know you're hungry. Yeah, yep. I mean, you know. So, it's just one of those things where... So, we're talking about with winter.
Right.
Being prepared for winter.
Right. And what I was getting ready to say, because we were getting kind of...
Mm-hmm.
We're over time. We're going to have a bunch of videos coming out.
Right.
How to winterize your honeybees. How to winterize your chickens, your livestock. How to get them prepared so that they will be able to make it through the winter.
Right.
And we're also going to show you some vegetables that you can grow in the wintertime for a winter garden.
Right.
We've got some planted already. We're going to show you how you can save these plants in case you get some snow or a heavy frost. We're going to talk a lot about caulifloras and covering with plastics, heavy mulch, all kinds of things.
Cold frames.
Stuff like that you can grow some vegetables. Now, unless you live like up in Ohio, the northern part of Ohio, where it just gets crazy cold, you're going to have to bring some of these guys inside. But here, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, maybe not so much some parts of Virginia, the mountains of Virginia, you'll have to probably grow.
You have to come inside.
Grow inside. But there are some things that you can grow inside. And Megan, on the Breakaway Homesteads live stream the other night with mental health, she was talking about having plants inside your house helps your mental health. I'm not going to go into everything that she says. You guys need to go
their last live stream.
Yeah, go over to the Breakaway Homestead and watch their last live stream where she's talking about mental health and growing plants in there, in your house. Mm-hmm. They do wonders for you.
And even more so if it's something you can eat. That's even cooler. Because I think they have Malabar spinach and things like that where they can just, go over there and pull some leaves off and cook it. That's pretty cool too. Yeah, Malabar spinach.
So, be on the lookout for those videos.
Mm-hmm. Growing Swiss chard lettuce and microgreens on my windowsills. Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And that's the thing, is a lot of us don't realize is that during the winter we keep our homes warm and almost the ideal temperature for growing stuff. Mm-hmm. So if you can simulate the light part of it, then you can grow herbs. You can grow, some people choose to grow citrus, small, dwarf citrus trees. Mm-hmm. Anything, really. But definitely like your lettuces and things like that. So, that's the thing, is that you can, if you keep your house warm enough, your soil's going to stay warm enough to where you can actually grow stuff in your house.
Yeah.
So.
And here's another thing. Aquariums. If you're out at a yard sale and you see a 100-gallon aquarium, or you see a 50-gallon aquarium, or a 25-gallon aquarium, pick it up.
You can grow root.
You can grow crops.
Root vegetables in there.
You can grow your root vegetables in there, and it's really cool, especially if you have kids.
Yeah.
Pick up some aquariums at yard sales or estate sales. Bottom couple of inches, just run some dirt or do a hugelkulture inside there. Yeah, do a hugelkulture inside there, because this is a huge science lesson. You throw some earthworms in there. You go to the bait store. You buy a bucket of earthworms. If you got a 50-gallon one, get the little half-pint thing of earthworms, throw them in there.
You'll be able to watch them.
Fill it up halfway with your hugelkultur stuff, your small twigs, branches, leaves, all of that. Top 4 to 6 inches in compost, some dirt. Plant your root vegetables in there.
Right.
Your children will be able to watch the seed germinate. They'll be able to watch the carrot form. I'm just going to say carrot.
Or whatever.
And they'll watch it grow down.
Right. Now, Gothic Sugar said, what about individual plants in plastic bottles? You can do that. The only issue with that I've seen is, one, you got to definitely do the self-watering kind. And 2, you may have to top dress every once in a while with a little bit of compost. And that's just to keep, because there's only a certain amount of dirt that you can put in a 2-liter plastic bottle.
That's right.
So you might have to add a little bit of compost or something to it just to keep feeding that soil so that it'll continue to feed the plant.
Right.
That's the only thing that I really have seen the issue being is with that. But if you do that, you absolutely could.
Well, that's one of the videos of ours that's going to be coming out. I was getting kicked while I was talking about it under the desk, but we are going to show you our hugelkultur garden in, what is that, a 75-gallon tank or a 100-gallon tank that's in Ladessa's room?
I think it's 100.
I think it's a 100-gallon tank. And periodically, we're going to, probably here on live streams, we're going to take pictures of stuff growing, and you'll see them. We'll probably start with some radishes, may go to half of it with carrots, and maybe some with potatoes.
Right. Just to be able,
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody remember time goes back tonight. We we fall back an hour.
I don't believe in that, so I'm not changing my clock. I am going to live 1 hour in the future and look at the rest of you like you're peasants, because I am from the future.
Full spectrum fluorescent lights will work as grow lights indoors. That's what we use. Well, it's not fluorescent. It's actually LED.
LEDs.
And they worked wonderful.
Yeah. Our LEDs that we bought at Lowe's or Home Depot.
Home Depot.
Little shop lights. We, in our starting seed videos, I talk about them. I show you which ones
they work very well.
Yeah. We blew up everything in our garden this year started from seed in this very studio.
Yeah, we did not have to buy plants. We were sitting here talking about that today, and it was like this overwhelming reality that we didn't have to buy any plants this year. Because normally we have stuff die off, and we just didn't take that as defeat this year. We were like, well, to heck with it, we'll just put it in the ground. And so we definitely, that was really cool. Yeah. So everybody is talking about cooking videos. So we've got to figure out, we've got an oven now, but we got to get figured out how we get it actually installed, because it was set for propane. And so we got to figure out hooking it up, either to natural gas or...
Well, we put a hold on hooking it up this weekend because we got to looking about how much money we were going to have to spend to transfer it back over to
convert it over
to natural gas. And we called a propane guy who used to come around in the live stream, who used to do YouTube videos, and he used to go fishing with J-Nall. But he went and got married, and now he acts like he don't know any of us.
That's not true. He picked up the phone as soon as you called, but still.
It may be cheaper for us because the only thing that we have on
natural gas besides the
stove is our hot water heater.
That's it. Everything else is electric. So
we may...
It may be cheaper for us to just convert the hot water heater over to propane and just get propane and be done with it. Yeah. And really, in the long run, it will probably save us a lot of money. So
the individual who gifted us gave us a bigger gift than I think we realized, and I think that
they realized.
Yeah. Because Robyn was talking to one of her coworkers, and they're that's all that they have on their gas is the stove and the hot water heater, and he pays about $300 a year for the gas.
Mm-hmm. And again, that's going to be regional, and given the area that we're in, the price is going to be predicted by the surrounding area. I mean, we've talked about this before. You know, you can have a Christmas tree farm where you grow Christmas trees in one area where the area is affluent and can afford $50, $60, $70, $80 for a tree, but that same tree grown in an area that can't afford that, the price is going to be cheaper just because of how much somebody can afford. So the one thing we're also looking at is that it may be that it's cheaper for us on average than for some other areas just because of the area that we live in.
Yeah, no, that's funny. So
I have an electric stove top and been using it for 2 months. No fires.
So
once we get that all hooked up, all I was bringing that up was to say that once we get that hooked up, we will definitely be doing videos for cooking, because there have been, you know, we've been kind of bouncing back and forth for keto, and we can't really afford to keep doing the keto right now.
Yeah.
But I will probably do a few videos on some things that we did, you know, to be able to make something stretch out. Like, we didn't have cream for a soup, and so we used something else that we had. So things like that we'll probably...
You're going to start to see a lot of interesting videos coming from us because of
Taco Pop-Tarts.
Financial situation that we find ourselves in right now, and it's because of my job at the post office and because of Blaze's wreck. You're going to start to see a lot of creative videos, and we're sharing this with you, one, because we love to try to be transparent,
right?
And two, we feel that there are some of you guys that are either in the same boat or in a worse boat, or teetering on being in the same boat as us. And if we can make a video that shows you guys how we're living off of our preps because we're not going to go grocery shopping this month,
or whatever, or we're going to put, you know, go ahead and harvest one of our...
I hate when you do that. For freak's sake. Okay, Patrick. Go ahead, go, because I completely forget what I was getting ready to say now.
People that might be going through the
middle of my
thing,
sentence just totally messed up the
teeter-tottering.
beginning of yours.
This is where I'm channeling the Megan side, not...
channeling the Megan side, huh?
Because you're going to hear me drop the F-bomb in a minute. The look on his face, like his eyes got like...
He looked like one of the weasels from Roger Rabbit. But we're going to show you, because if we can make it work here, whether it is we're cooking a whole bunch of stuff in the Dutch oven to not spend money on the natural gas to make it work, then boom, that's what we're going to do. You know, one of the things is we don't know if we have a percolator coffee pot anymore, but Robyn has come up with a genius way for us to have coffee and not use electricity for...
and it not be on with a percolator.
Yeah, and it not be with a... Genius. And, so we used to have one.
We used to have two of them.
We used to have two or three of them. And it used to
be our... And so what happened is, it was our preferred method of making coffee. And what happened is, the way that percolators are made nowadays, they're crap.
Yeah.
And so we would go through them, and basically what ended up... It's time for the percolator. It's gotten to a point where we've just, over the years, we've used all the ones that we had, and we've never replaced it.
Because that's one of the things you and I absolutely love, putting that percolator coffee pot on the fire running around, doing the chores, coming back to the fire.
And you see it popping up out of the clear little thing and it's brown. And you're like, yes!
And then having a cup of coffee and sitting there. And you and I have had some of the best conversations around the fire in the morning.
And I'm really glad that it happened when it did. Because it would have been miserable trying to do it in 90-degree weather. Just saying. So now that it's cool, you know, it's kind of fits that we don't have the mosquitoes like we did. There's still a few around, but not like they were. It's cool enough that we can sit around the fire. We don't just have to cook on the fire and walk away from it. We can sit around it and watch it and just relax. So there's a lot of different things that this... And that's one thing you just have to choose to accept that and be like, okay, you know, I got lemons. I'm going to make lemonade. I'm not going to be a sourpuss.
Now, tomorrow we are going to be filming and hopefully I'll be able to get it out. We were challenged by a fellow Marine in his challenge. His channel name is called Shout Out. Now, they challenged us to do a... What is it called? No dance, no sing.
No sing challenge or something like that. Where you basically, there's music that's played on the computer and while you're filming. And so this one won't be monetized, just so you guys understand that. But we'll play a video and then between, I guess we're going to do us and Blaze.
Well, I mean, we'll probably all be kind of participating in a roundabout sort of way. And we're not going to tell you the genre of music that we're going to do. You guys are going... This is definitely a must-see video for a belly laugh. Do not be drinking anything or eating anything when you watch this. It may come out late tomorrow evening or Monday. And then we will be challenging Shout Out to do something. They are city folks up north. They
in a high society kind of place, like not.
But they are extremely interested in homesteading. They, when we got to first talking, of course, I told them you need to watch Food Incorporated and Food Matters, and then get back to me. And I told them, I said, you know, get a slab of pork, get a ham. A raw
from the
ham
grocery
from
store.
the grocery store, or some what's the tube looking thing?
Loin.
The loin. Put it in a Ziploc bag. Pour some Coke in it. You'll stop eating commercial pork. And so I don't know if they done it or not.
He didn't talk to you for a little while.
He ain't talked to us
chicken nuggets for him too.
Yeah.
And hot dogs.
And so he come back and he said, okay, we want to challenge us to do something homesteading. And so we're going to be putting videos out with this channel. The channel is called Shout Out. Kitty, if you could put their link up for me, I would appreciate it. I probably haven't seen you in a while. That's probably what you're doing.
The funny thing is that one of the things, we were talking to him and we were talking about foraging and things like that. And he's like, I don't think you understand. There's nothing for us to forage around here. I was like, oh no, sweetheart. I'm sure there is. You just don't know it yet. Yeah. And then we started naming some stuff. He's like, oh yeah, we have that. You can eat that? And, oh, now I really want this snack. Oh, well, you know.
But go over there.
I don't want to know what Coke does to the pork.
Go over there to them. Leave a comment on their videos.
There you go.
Any one of their videos. They're a very small channel. Tell them that Big Bear sent you, and that you're ready for their challenge. And I'm asking you guys. I don't usually ask you guys to go and subscribe to somebody, but I'm asking you to go and subscribe to them to help keep them motivated with their homesteading challenges. Pick a video. I don't care what video it is. Let them know that you came from us and that you're here to help support them with their homestead challenges. And then when they put the videos out with them doing some of these challenges, please support them. Just let them know that you're there. Let's welcome them into this neighborhood, because these are exactly the type of people that we were just kind of talking about. They were people that live in a city that know zero about anything homesteading, and there's 4 or 5 of them in this one group, and we could help them become urban homesteaders. You know, and it could be that they might live close to some of y'all, and it could be somebody that y'all could start to barter with and talk with and help each other out.
There are things that come out of the pork. They're trying to not ruin it for her, but it's yeah. She's like, why in the world would you want to pour Coke on a tenderloin? Yeah. So
yeah.
Hey, if Sammy and I can homestead, anyone can, and there you go.
Yeah. Their name is Shout Out. Kitty put their link out.
Is it a weird channel? Looks iffy. No, their genre is totally different. That's all. They
are nothing like us. I think they do a lot of spoofs and they do a lot of competitions with each other like this. Because they're small, they're not monetized, so they don't have to really worry about copyright issues or anything like that. So they do a lot of crazy stuff like that. They really haven't found their footing yet.
They're nothing like us. No one is like us.
And but
Lost dude. I want you to know, we still think about you just about every time when that whoopee comes out right now. I'm like, he's really cool. He sent us that
we take the whoopee out to the deer stand to hunt with. We use it to break us up on the buddy stand with Ladessa, because she's worse than me. She can't sit still.
Yeah.
So
Breakaway said, "Shoot, they have more subs than me." So anyway,
but those are. It's going to be a very interesting journey with them. And some of you guys will have more experience in a neighborhood, city, suburbia lifestyle homesteading than I do. So that's one of the reasons why I'm asking you guys to go over there to help support, because they may have questions that I can't answer because I don't have the experience. So I'm calling on the Big Bear family to come and let's help these guys to grow their own tomatoes, to grow.
There you go. Yeah. So Suburban says, so what happens inside when J-Rob drinks a Coke?
J-Rob is catching on. Okay, we're going to share the story about how J-Rob came to be.
And then we're done.
And then we got to go because dinner's in there and my son is home. Blaze was acting a fool one morning. And he was trying to be all ghetto gangster. He was just in one of those weird moods coming home from work. And
Beard? Are you growing your beard for a year? Is that what it is? Oh, okay. So, part of it, though, too, was with me changing my channel name.
Yeah.
Jason was picking on me, saying I was going to leave him. And I said, no, here's the thing. You got to understand. Now we're going to be two, like, powerful people. Like, I was joking, but I was like, we're going to be these two powerful people. We have to have, like, a power couple name. Like how J-Lo and all of those had all these different, all these different combinations of names. I said, we have to have our own one. So we were kind of like joking around with that. Well, then Blaze started acting all funny.
And so Robyn said, you will refer, how it come about, but Robyn said, well, we're J-Rob.
Yeah.
And Blaze went,
he was like, oh my God.
And I
And then he just went crazy.
I ran with it.
He's like, J-Rob wants their tea and blah, blah, blah. And it was hilarious. So then we go into town.
Yeah.
And everywhere, and most of y'all that follow us on Facebook started to see us posting all of these different things on Facebook where we're like, J-Rob's hitting the Best Buy and we need our Mixmaster Blaze. And so we kept tagging him.
And the guy at Best Buy, we were like, you need to take a picture with J-Rob. And he was like, okay, Agent Brown will take a picture with J-Rob. He was freaking so cool
funny.
with it. And so we got that selfie with Agent Brown. Mm-hmm. But that's how that came to be. It's pretty much just to drive Blaze crazy. And
but then we had so many people that were like messaging us. They're like, I love the J-Rob thing.
So we're going to kind of keep it going. And every time you see us post it, we will be tagging Blaze with it. So anytime, if some of you want to start your own J-Rob kind of thing.
Power couple names.
Mm-hmm. Please do. And then tag my son on Facebook with it. But tag him, Blaze Rear. But then put in parentheses after the tag. Mixmaster Blaze. Because it's not over until he comes home from work and he goes, so... You know what they call me?
No, you don't need to have a significant other. Use your cat or your dog or whatever.
You know what they call me at work now, Dad?
Mixmaster Blaze.
I appreciate it.
Oh my God, he's going to block you. Hey, he can move out.
Oh, you'll kick him out for blocking us on Facebook, but I can't. Oh.
Does Bubble Nut count as a name? That's where Tomahill came from. Yeah, I knew that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, let's light him up.
Yep.
Always haze teenagers. Yep. He should be the Palmetto Pooper Scooper. So, remember?
He is Pooper Scooper. He's not Paratrooper. It's the funniest, most intimidating time of my life because he come over and I'll be fair with y'all, he's a badass. And my daughters are giggling and laughing and I was like, what is so funny? And they were like, we're going to call him Pooper Scooper. I'm like, no, you're not. You're going to get shot. Like, I didn't know him very well at the time. And then we told him and he thought it was just the funniest thing. So kind of ran with it. Kind of like how we do scrape away. Scrape away, scrape away.
Don't get me talking about my boy Patrick. I love me some Patrick.
Love him. He's awesome. And his wife, I cannot wait to meet his wife.
Kitty and Tanya, Ren and Stimpy. Nah, more like Beavis and Butthead.
The Pooper Scooper and the Crayon Eater show. That would be awesome.
Well, look, I do have a show or live stream in the mix if I can get my buddy Paul to agree to it one day. He's going to come down and...
Tanya, your butthead.
That's true. And because he is extremely far left. And I think it would be great to have him and I on a live stream for an hour.
I just don't think he would do it.
Debating.
Because of his
debating topics. So.
But, all right.
Well, you guys, we held 47 for most of the night.
Very cool.
We appreciate that. You guys, thank you for coming by and hanging out with us. All my moderators, Tanya, Kitty, especially Kitty. Kitty's been the one doing it the longest. Tanya, Kitty, you guys pretty much been the wrenches that's been sticking around most of the night. We appreciate you guys. You guys did a wonderful job tonight. Thank you so very much. Love you bunches. And
only because I got kicked out of the wrench club because you never show up. You're never here.
You guys remember, be kind to one another. Oh, there's Anita coming in.
Yeah.
Be kind to one another. You don't know what that person could be going through. They could have been picked on by their close group of knit friends that were like family, and they just henpeck you to death. And so they could be just, upset about that. So you don't know what people are going through.
Just saying. My heart broken in pieces. It's all love. If that's love, I don't want to see what hate is.
Yeah, I'm getting my Zen on now. Repurpose, reuse, and recycle. Mm-hmm. Let's keep this stuff out of the landfill because remember, like what we said tonight, the animals are going to continue reproducing.
Yep.
There's not any more land for them.
No prophylactics for the deer. Just saying.
No rubber bucky. So, we love you guys. Be looking out. We may, I may pop live going on a deer hunt tomorrow. We're in the middle of the rut. I don't know. I'm trying to jerry-rig something that I can just stick my phone up on there and run with it that way. That's about it. So, we love you guys. Thanks for coming by. And we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.